Hey there guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are covering Commander deck tech for Oloro. He's originally from Commander 2013, and he's probably one of, if not the best Lifegain commander. You are an Esper color, so blue, black, white. He is 6 mana, he's a big old 4/5 fat boy. But he was one of the very first, I think the first commander to have an effect that occurred while outside the game, while he wasn't active. Beginning your upkeep, you gain 2 life. Whenever you gain life, you may pay 1. If you do, draw a card and each opponent loses a life. And he had, at the beginning of your upkeep, if he was in the command zone, you gain 2 life. So you're always just passively gaining life with him. Now, with this kind of commander, a lot of people build around the last paragraph because the effect is always occurring every upkeep for you. And you can use that with any life gain effects to hurt your opponent, draw more cards, gain more life, just set up really good combos. It's a very unique effect that early in Magic's history. So it's a good old strong, we gain life, they lose life kind of deck, and we have lots of advantage. So you got a couple of freebie wins here. Of course, these ones just go based on how much life you have. In things like Felidar Sovereign, beginning upkeep, you have 40 life, you win the game. Pretty easy in this kind of commander. Test of Endurance, same thing, but at 50, again, very easy when you start at 42 pretty much with your commander. And Angel of Destiny, something similar. You have to deal some combat damage with there, and then if you in that play gain that much life, but at the end of that turn, if you have 15 more life than your starting total, each player that angel attacked loses the game. Kind of a similar thing, but based on combat. Then you got things like Aether Flux Reservoir, which is always good fun. You cast a ton of spells, you gain life, and then you can just pay 50 to deal 50. I love it, it's good fun. And your opponent can see it kind of just building up, getting ready to pop off, and then bam, 50 to the head. So your other version of winning is through your life gain trickling effects. So these are cards that say whenever you gain life, each opponent loses that much life. With the commander, that's at least 2 damage per turn. But with all the other instances and life gain effects, that's a lot going to add up. So the good old Guild Mage, you can just pay the 3 mana, and whenever you gain life, each opponent loses that much life, and that's during the entire turn. So if you're life linking creatures, you're getting tons of life, big movements like that, it will win the game there. Dusk Rose, similar effect, when you gain life, target opponent loses that much life. Plus you can give all your creatures life link, which means if you have a good big swing, whole team gains life link, you can do a ton of damage. Now I do run Sanguine Bond and Defiant Blood, but we do not run it with Exquisite Blood for the infinite combo because these say whenever you gain life, each opponent loses that much life, but Exquisite Blood says whenever your opponent loses life, you gain that much, you create that loop, and they die outright from anything. But hey, you want to be a scumbag and have those kind of wins? Chuck them in. But for sake of keeping the budget down, because Exquisite Blood is like $50, $60 now, Bond and Bloodlord here do the same thing. We gain life, they lose that much life. Very good in this deck. I don't need to say why. So Lifegain actually has some pretty good like beat stick creatures. They're cheap, they're affordable, and they're really like well pushed for what they do. So you've got the Divinity of Pride, which is 5 mana for 4/4, but in a deck like ours, having 25 or more life is pretty much a granted. You've actually got an 8/8 with lifelink and flying for 5 mana. That's pretty good. Serra Ascendant is expensive for a 1-drop, I think it's like 20 bucks. But turn 1, dropping a 6/6 flying with lifelink is pretty game breaking, and it could just carry a 1v1 game on its own like that. Voice of the Blessed is 2 mana. When you gain life, you put a counter on it, so it's better to have lots of instances of life gain here. When it has 4 or more counters on it, it has Flying Vigilance. When it has 10 or more, it has Indestructible. So across the game, in a few turns, this boy just becomes like at least a 12/12 Flying Vigilance Indestructible beat stick. Good old Ajani's Pride Mate, any instance of life gain, put a counter on him, nice and simple. Same thing with the Aerialist, every time you gain life, just put a counter on it, plus there's flying, which is nice. Good old Nighthawk, he is just a bomb. 2/3 flying, Death Touch, lifelink for 3, gonna trade with anything you want, and just constantly getting your life. The Crested Sunmare's fun. So it's 5 mana, kind of on the expensive end. 5/5, other horses have Indestructible, but as long as you gain life in the turn, have another 5/5 horse, which will be Indestructible. It's just a really strong board presence. Something similar is the Speaker of Heavens, he's a little cheapy at 1 mana, 1/1, Vigilance and lifelink, but if you have 7 or more from your starting life, which would be 47 in this deck, you can tap to make a 4/4 angel token with flying. Sorcerer Spirit only, of course. But hey, it's a 1 mana drop that can start making 4/4 angels very easily in this kind of deck. Now, the Bright Priest and the Epicure of Blood, these guys kind of help deal out the damage to your opponent. Every time you gain life, you're doing triple damage to them, so 1 point of damage. But these guys work really well when you have a lot of instances of a little bit of life gain. And then something similar with Indulger. At 3 mana, it's a 1/4 with lifelink, flying, blah, blah, blah. But, beginning of your end step, if you have 3 more life, gain 3 more life this turn, each opponent loses 3 life, so it's just a good whack of damage. Now, for your actual life gain, that's just purely dedicated for that role. You've got the Ram, 2 mana 0/5, big old fat butt, but a guaranteed extra life each turn, another instance of life gain which you care about. Something similar with Wall of Reverence. Beginning of your end step, you gain life equal to the power of the biggest creature you control, so at least be 1 mana based on 1 life on him. The Phantom Renewal, 1 life each turn as well. All of them, nice, cheap, just guaranteed life gain instances. Drana's Emissary, beginning of your upkeep, each opponent loses 1, you gain 1, works with all your combos. Then you got Soul Attendant, Soul Warden, and Such a Priest, which all care about creatures entering or leaving the battlefield to gain 1 life, and in the Such a Priest's case, dealing damage when we need to. They are very annoying 1-drops, people hate them and they'll probably get bolted pretty quick. Then you got Kambal, he's actually really good. When an opponent casts a non-creature spell, they lose 2, you gain 2. Really annoying, actually a great commander on his own, like a kind of a tax build. You got Chalice of Life, which you tap, gain 1 life. If you have 10 or more life than your starting total, transform it, and then it's tap, deal 5 damage to a player, or they lose 5 life. That's a big chunk just from a tap effect. Supporting pieces for this deck, Paradox Haze, you play it on yourself, and you get an additional upkeep, which is very strong in a deck like this where all your effects say at the beginning of your upkeep, do this. With the commander, that's at least 4 life a turn. That is pretty sick. The Archive here will double up your life gain, plus any draw, which would be 3 commander as well, except for your first one, is additional draw. It's amazing. It is a beast of a card in this deck. Bolus's Citadel is a really, really unique card. Often in a lot of decks, it's like, I'm going to try and win this turn. I'm going to just pay all my life, all my resources, and try and win. In this deck, it just means just constantly play on the top of your deck. Don't worry about the life loss because you're getting that much back. You may look at the top card of your library in time. You may play the top card of your library. And if you cast a spell, you pay life equal to its CMC rather than paying its mana cost. So just pay the life for big old whatever you want off the top of your deck. It is a great card. In not even thinking about the tap, sack 10 permanents to deal 10 damage. I don't even think about that. I'm purely here just to pay a life to cast at the top of the deck, really. Heliod is a beast. Every time you have an instance of life gain, put a counter on a target creature or enchantment you control. So if you have no creatures, at least you can build up the counters on him too. So when he goes online, he's a big old beat stick. And plus, the life link is nice to have. Archangel Athun, something similar. Every time you gain a life on an instance, you put a counter on each creature you control. If this thing stays around for a turn or 2, you'll gain that much board presence off it. The Cleric class is really cool for an uncommon. So in level 1, it is, if you gain life, you gain that much +1 instead. Level 2 is where it really gets good. Whenever you gain life, put a counter on target creature you control. Similar to Heliod's effect. And then I don't really care about level 3 to be honest. It's for level 1 and 2. Authority of the Consuls and Blood and Being slow down our opponents, plus give us trickle life gain, and Extort is never a bad thing to have. Cryptghast doubles up our mana production and swamps, plus brings Extort itself to the board. Profane Tutor is a nice cheap tutor, only a few dollars just to spend it. We'll go and get anything out of a deck we want later on. Darksteel Plate and Lightning Roots are just here to protect key creatures or your commander. But again, you don't really worry unless you want Oloro out on the board for draw, because he's always doing something in the command zone. Alright, on to draw. Being Esper, you've got pretty strong draw, of course, all life game based. So Sigarda's Splendor is a brand new one from Innistrad. In his battlefield, you note your life total when it enters, and then at the beginning of your upkeep, draw a card if your life total is greater than when it was last noted. And then you note your life again. So long as you're gaining life and going up, you always get to draw a card. Plus, whenever you cast a white spell, you gain 1 life, which we like that effect, of course. Well-Lost Dreams, every time you gain life, you may pay X, where X is equal to or less than the amount of life you gain to draw X cards. So just draw a ton, basically, in this deck. Cosmos Elixir, beginning of your end step, draw a card if your life total is greater than your starting amount, which in this commander is pretty much guaranteed. Otherwise, you gain 2 life. These are nice passive pieces that sit in the backline gaining tons of life. The Drogskull Reaver, he's a beast. He's 7 mana. He is expensive, but he's flying double strike lifelink. Hopefully you can stack a ton of counters on with Heliod or something juicy. And whenever you gain life, you draw a card. So you care about all of instances of life gain for a really strong draw through him. Phyrex Arena, we don't care about the life loss. You just get to draw an extra card each turn, basically. I like Brainstorm. Nice and cheap. Just chuck it in here. For removal, we have 2 creatures plus lots of target removal. So Karlov, the Ghost Council. Every time you gain life, put 2 counters on him. Remove 6 counters for 2 mana. Exile target creature. You'll easily be able to do that every turn in this deck. So just charge him up, start ripping those counters off, and start exiling all the enemy creatures. Vona, the Butcher of Magn. Kind of expensive, 5 mana to charge it up. But you tap, pay 7, destroy target non-land permanent. Activate only during your turn. Really cool effect because you do not care about the pay of 7 life. You've got plenty of life to play with. Other than that, I just run my preferences in removal. Vindicate, just hitting any permanent basically. Absorb and Render Silent are really good counter spells. Anguish Unmaking, Despark, Path of Exile, just more my targeted stuff. Whatever you like, your preference. For board wipes, I do like running Dam because I like that it can be single or overload it to be an actual board wipe in this case. And good old Supreme Verdict, they're not going to counter it. For actual your mana and your mana rocks, so we run Chromatic Lantern because we're a 3-color deck. Pristine Talisman is a great little piece. It taps mana and you gain 1 life. That 1 life will help trigger a few more effects. Then I run my 3 Signets, so my Arcane, Azorius, Orzhov, and my Dimir Signets, plus my Sol Ring. Nothing fancy there. Now onto lands. I do run Whole of Heliod Generosity. Not really an enchantment build, but there are a few enchantments in the deck that if you lose them on the board, they would be really, really nice to get them back, especially Paradox Haze. I would love to keep that on the board as long as I can. Reptile for your bigger hand size because commander does draw quite a bit. Bajuka Bog just to nuke someone's graveyard. Maze of Ith to remove an attacker. This deck is a little bit on the slow side. We're trying to build up a really good life gain loop, so removing an attacker, probably not a bad idea. Castle of Lothlwain is draw in a land slot, gonna take it of course. Command Beacon helps you replay your commander, moving the command attacks in 1 time, which we will take. For your colour production, Command Tower, Arcane Sanctum. We run our 3 Buddy Lands, our 3 Temples. We run any dual colour land that gains life on entry, which I think is 5. I'm pretty sure there's only 5 of them that work in this colour combination. There could be more. And then for basics, I run 6 swamps, 6 plains, and 4 islands. We only have a little bit of blue in this deck. And of course, I've gone with the Innistrad Blackout theme. I really like them. Alright, that is Oloro. He's a beast of a commander, really strong life gain. He excels in the mid to late game, absolutely. And because of all the life gain and trickling effects you have early on, you can just face tank early on. You don't really worry about real aggro decks. He does it all. Life gain, he brings his own draw. He's always doing something, and his something's always interacting with something else in your deck. It's a really cool combination interaction. So let me know your thoughts about Oloro. Next commander deck tech I want to do, I forget the name, the ninja from the new Kamigawa set that lets everything have ninjutsu. That seems busted. That's gonna be fun and dirty. I think we'll do that as actually a try-hard deck. No budget, we'll just go balls to the wall. Wanna clap your cheeks, we'll see how we go. Alright guys, thank you for watching and have a good one. See ya. If you enjoyed the video of our Order Commander guys, like the video, helps out the channel a lot. Maybe consider subbing, about 10% of my viewers are. And to my patrons, I can't thank you enough. You guys are family, your direct support to me. I cannot thank you guys enough to help my little dream go along.